Alright, what is up YouTube? It is K-Rod here, aka K-Rod7435 or Kieran Rodriguez. I'm back at it with another good boxing video for today. I have a breaking news of this video by Royal Trends. By this YouTuber, Royal Trends. I'm sorry to repeat the channel, but I'm just quite shocked at looking at this title, but please check out this video. I will have it posted in the description below. Ryan Garcia had said recently the other day in regards to Gervonta Tank Davis versus Rolando Romero, aka Rollie. For those of you that don't know, Rolando Romero is a former, I guess like sparring partner, I would say, or sparring opponent that Ryan Garcia had fought in the past, where Rollie, he was touching Ryan up and sparring, and Ryan Garcia obviously never wanted to fight Rollie in the pros, so it kind of viraled out of social media, and it brought a lot of build up into the past, and Rolando Romero wanted to fight Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia obviously never wanted to fight him, and Floyd Mayweather actually offered Ryan Garcia $200,000 extra if he beats Rolando Romero. So technically, Ryan Garcia, if he wanted Gervonta Tank Davis in the past, which it could have been made a lot sooner in the past, for those of you that don't know, Floyd Mayweather said, you can't get to Tank unless you get to, or unless you get through one of my fighters, Rollie. So Ryan Garcia obviously never took the offer because he knew, like, okay, if I lose to Rollie, it's a big risk, because Rollie knows how Ryan fights, and that's a high risk, low reward type of fight, which, you know, me personally, I would favor Ryan to knock out Rollie, but for those of you that don't know, Floyd Mayweather offered Ryan Garcia a extra $200,000 if he beats Rolando Romero. If that fight were to have been made in the past to be the ticket to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. But Ryan Garcia obviously pulled off a Capdemic storyline, in the sense of, you know, he just went on like a lying rampage. You know, he started lying here, lying there, and it never made any sense of how he was moving well in the sport. And he wants to put the blame on mental health and him not being focused in his career, but you know, that's obviously not true, because if you have mental health issues, shouldn't you be seeking a psychiatrist? Shouldn't you be going through medical procedures to actually make yourself feel psychologically intent? And I think I think to my personal, you know, experience of having, you know, mental disabilities and what I've been through in my life, mental health is no joke. Like, I have a minor diagnosis of Asperger's, and on top of that, I'm quote unquote on the minor spectrum of becoming autistic, which that's not really me per se, because, you know, I'm actually on a small spectrum, so that's like really little, but still, it's like those mental diseases that I minor or that I carry at a small level are like really sickening diseases that actually hurt and harm a lot of people every single day. And those people that do go through mental health issues that are actually psychotic and very mentally broken, those people are your day-to-day criminals. Those are the people that are broken in the world, that don't have a moral compass to look to, and they actually learn from their mistakes and actually become, you know, responsible human beings. Because what Ryan Garcia had made out of the mockery of saying he had mental health issues was basically just to avoid Rolando Romero and to avoid Gervonta Tank Davis primarily. But, you know, notice how Ryan started to switch up his energy, because he never wanted to get the smoke with Gervonta nor Rollie. But now that they're fighting, it's like he comes out to say on social media, that should be me. Well, let me ask you something, Ryan. Where the hell were you when Tank was calling your ass out? And by the way, this video will be linked down below in the description. So if you guys want to check out this video, please check out this video, because Royal Trends, whoever the hell you are, good job, because I truly believe that Ryan Garcia obviously didn't want to, you know, actually be honest with himself and actually ask him those tough questions to say, am I ready for the big dogs? And I think what Ryan Garcia had done to make a mockery out of his whole career, you know, it's absolutely sickening, because Ryan Garcia, you know, he is a good fighter for what he can prove outside. Hey, what's up? Like, yeah, like, for what he can prove outside of his career. But the problem is that, what is Ryan Garcia going to do to prove to the world to say that he's a top lightweight or he's a top fighter? Because he says he's going to become the best fighter of this era. Well, Ryan, like he hasn't. Ryan, you haven't been back in the ring for well over a year plus. So ever since you beat Luke Campbell, or ever since you fought Luke Campbell, as of shit, I want to say 2021. Yeah, 2021, back in January. Yeah, at the start of the new year, he hasn't done anything. Ryan Garcia has just been sitting on the shelf for so fucking long, and he hasn't done jack shit. You know, he's been capping, like, you know, he's been lying his ass off, trying to say he got mental health issues while he's hanging out with his girlfriend and family. Yo, get the fuck up out of here, man. Like, Ryan Garcia is absolutely, the biggest piece of shit liar on planet Earth. And now he has he has the due diligence to say that he should be fighting Gervonta Tank Davis instead of having Rollie fighting Gervonta. Well, my question to you, Ryan, is why didn't you take that opportunity? Why didn't you take that opportunity with Tank when the offer was made to you by Floyd Mayweather? You could have easily took the fight, and you could have easily proven yourself to the world that you have the skills to beat Gervonta Tank Davis. So my only question to Ryan is that, what were you doing from the time when you were talking all this shit about, oh, I'm going to fight Gervonta Tank Davis, blah, 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 and then he makes the excuse to say, oh, well, I'm not going to fight Tank, you know, I'm going to fight Manny Pacquiao in a fucking exhibition, knowing that Pacquiao at the time, he was an active fighter, or he was inactive for quite a while until he got back into the ring to fight Ugas or Errol Spence, and then later on Ugas because of Errol Spence's eye injury. Ryan Garcia, you haven't done jack shit at all. You haven't done anything to uplift your career. You have done everything wrong in your career. And looking back at your box rec, you haven't done shit. You've basically only fought like once out of the entire year, out of 2021. Yeah, like I said, I was right. From the beginning of 2021, when the new year was created, or when the new year started, he only fought Luke Campbell. That was it. He's never fought anybody else. He's been inactive for 10 plus months. And now here we are, going into November 27th, which it's basically to be said that he should be back in the ring fighting Jojo Diaz, but I don't think that fight is going to happen. I think Jojo, he's not going to want to push through with that fight. It's probably going to be Gamboa from what I've been hearing. If you guys want more information, please go check out L-Dub Boxing. He has all the great information out there that will give you the more recent updates into boxing. But I think, me personally, that's a really good start and a really good step into the right direction. So I think I don't know. I think obviously where Ryan is at in his career, he has a lot of growing to do. And I think where he's going to start growing up is when he's going to start feeling, the competition get harder and harder, because he's obviously showing himself to be the weakest out of the bunch in the lightweight division. But if Ryan Garcia chooses to fight anybody out of the top 25, which I would probably say, obviously, if I'm Ryan Garcia, I'd say, Jojo Diaz is a great fight, but obviously you should have fought Devin Haney, to that manner. But he obviously knows Devin Haney is going to beat the shit out of him. But you should have fought Tank Davis. He had literally 10 months to think it out, and now here we are, heading into the month of, November pretty soon. Basically, we're less than a month and a couple weeks away, in the sense of, I don't know, in the sense of knowing, like, when Ryan Garcia is going to make his ring return. But I would say for the next 5 opponents that Ryan Garcia should really try to exercise going after, I would say for starters, I would try to go for a. If we're really going to be consistent, he should have fought Jorge Linares. That should be number 1. Number 2 would be maybe Masayoshi Nakatani. I wouldn't mind that fight. Number 3, Michelle Rivera. I think that would be a beautiful fight for Ryan. I think Ryan Garcia, he's gonna get knocked the fuck out by Michelle, because Michelle, he's just a more elusive boxer, and he just knows how to move well with his feet, and he knows how to hard counter you when he sees a wide opening at the right place at the right time. But I think stylistically that will favor Michelle Rivera because Ryan Garcia is tailor-made for him. But I think, if he's able to hit, if Ryan is able to hit Michelle Rivera at the right spot to crack him, he could definitely have a chance to knock out Michelle Rivera. So that's number 3. Because I said Jorge Linares, I said Michelle Rivera, and then I said Nakatani. Number 4, William Zepeda. He's a really good fighter. I love watching him. I got clicked on to watching him after he knocked out Hector Tanajara, which it was pretty sad to see Hector get knocked out, or he basically got stopped. But, no, William Zepeda, he is a very good fighter, and I like Hector too. He's a amazing fighter. He obviously still has a lot of growing up to do, but I think where he's at in his career versus William, he's obviously levels above Hector, and I hope to see him back very, very soon. But yeah, that would be a really good brawlish type of style for Ryan. I think if Ryan really wants to have like a real test in the division, he needs to fight a guy like that that's going to give him rounds, but it's also going to give him battle testing moments to actually handle pressure and actually not be so shelled up to the ropes. Because the problem with Ryan Garcia is that he keeps himself wide open to get pressured. And I think what Luke Campbell failed to do when he hurt Ryan Garcia after he had dropped him, I believe in the second round or third round, not too sure, but either way, Ryan Garcia, he shelled up. He didn't know what he was going through in the midst of the fight. And I think for Luke Campbell's disadvantage, he fails to close the show when he sees somebody hurt. And I think like what Luke should have said to Ryan in one of his podcast shows that he had with Luke back in the past, he should have said to Ryan, the only reason why I couldn't stop you was simply that I failed to close the show and I didn't have, the right confidence coming in to try to stop him. Because, I like Luke Campbell for what he used to do, but now I understand why he loses his big fights, because he does not close the show. Luke can crack somebody, but he's not a big power puncher. But at the end of the day, when we see Luke Campbell be battle tested, when we seen him face Lomachenko, and Lomachenko said, oh, this guy is one of the toughest opponents I face, why didn't Luke Campbell actually continue to face other top lightweights? But yet, he just dwindled down into oblivion, and his skill level just completely dropped. Because my only question to Luke Campbell is that if you couldn't stop Ryan Garcia, and you couldn't stop Lomachenko, and he had Linares a couple times hurt in which Linares had dropped him and almost stopped him. What does that say about Ryan Garcia's skill level? It just shows like Ryan Garcia is no better, if not anywhere near to the level of where we think he's a good fighter. If he had to beat a guy like Luke Campbell, a C level or B minus level fighter, I would say Ryan Garcia has really never gotten better throughout the course of his career. Because if he was that better, he would have then fought all these guys that I'm naming right now. And I would probably say for the fifth opponent that he should probably go after, which I'm not going to point out Felix Verdejo. His career is done. He's obviously locked up, blah, blah, blah. I've already covered on that. I would probably say he should go after a guy like Angel Fierro. That would be a perfect style matchup. Or Zaur Abdulwalev. I actually would like that. Not a good elusive boxer. He's more of a brawler. He's a flat-footed type of fighter. Comes forward, only has one gear, but I think that's a good opponent that he could knock off just to build up his experience level. Because obviously, if you fight, the opponents that Devin Haney have fought, which I mean, he would have to go all the way up and try to face guys like Jorge Linares, or face guys like Javier Fortuna, which I think Fortuna would be an amazing fight, or beat guys up like Lee Selby or Richard Comey. Obviously, we know Ryan, he's not built like that. I personally don't think Ryan is that type of guy to be that type of fighter, to test himself against all cylinders of high-level competition. But either way, Ryan Garcia is a disappointment to boxing. What he said in this video, saying that that could have been me, or that should be me, pretty much just shows like Ryan Garcia, he's not this type of fighter that we think he is. And, it pretty much speaks for itself, because Ryan Garcia, if you're that good of a fighter and you should have been fought Tank, then wouldn't this fight have been made a long time ago? And I think that's really the biggest problem in boxing. I think the biggest problem in boxing is that when fighters say they could beat a fighter but they're not so confident of doing it, there's no structure in the sport of boxing to entice fighters to fight other fighters. Because why do people always say that this fighter could beat that fighter but yet they don't fight? I'll just use Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano for that great example. All the retarded British teeth fans, or I'll just call them UK retard fans in boxing, or trolls, because I don't disrespect every British person when it comes to sports, because some of them are very loyal when it comes to like basketball, soccer, or like any sports that that people over there like to watch. But obviously when the British fan base shells over to the American fan base with what Americans watch majorly into sports like football, basketball, boxing, baseball, all the big premier level sports that America is known for, I would probably say that fan base alone has more of a dwindled mindset when it comes into boxing. But they obviously know that the sport itself is mega, watchable. But the problem is just like not a lot of British people are really that big into boxing compared to Americans, or I probably say real hardcore boxing fans, where people are actually more heavily intertwined into watching the sport more. Because I think Americans are obviously more active in talking about boxing, and then it goes to like other parts of what the world, like Mexico, and then it's Puerto Rico, and then other semi unknown places. I mean, Europe isn't really big on boxing, It's really only big whenever America challenges certain European fighters, and then that's when the media starts to come out to be racist and try to say, "Oh, this guy can beat that guy," blah blah blah. But then when this fighter out of the, coincidentalist wants to fight this guy out of the hopeless, it's like nobody don't want to see it. But back to the Katie Taylor situation. If Katie Taylor is being all hyped up as this great, undisputed female lightweight fighter, as if she could beat up any girl, anytime, any place, anywhere, then why the hell are you not telling your favorite fighter to go beat up a fighter that's been calling her out for ages, like Amanda Serrano? Or shit, even Clarissa Shields. I don't see Katie Taylor taking that big step to move up 3 weight divisions to go fight Clarissa. I'm pretty sure she can, based on how she's built. Because it's not like Katie, she's like not some petite female. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure if I stood like right next to her, I like tower her in size. But it's like, it's not like Katie Taylor cannot chase greatness. I think honestly, like, where Katie Taylor is at in her career, she has nothing more or nothing less to lose other than just give the fans what we fucking want, which is just give us a damn good fight. But it's like Katie Taylor, she's like puppeted just like AJ, where it's like she doesn't want to be great. She's just comfortable where she's at, cuz she's obviously getting like probably like, I would probably say less than at least 100,000, or maybe not even that much, just to get a decent payday. So Katie is like obviously not, in the position of like being this big, mega paid superstar at a DAZN with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. She's getting money, but it's obviously not to the highest standard of what anybody could think of out of her. Yeah, like, it may say on paper she gets $1 million a fight, but is that really true though? Once you do all the math, once you do all the, state, extortions and the promotion, like, promoter extortions, especially coming from all the taxes and the fees and sanctioning fees as well, coming from all those belts, like, do you really think she's getting $1 million? I don't think so. I don't think Eddie Hearn is stupid enough to give one of his, like, not so good prize fighters, or I would say basically hopeless fighters, hopeless hype job prize fighters, to not, how should I say, to not give them such a big boatload of money, because obviously the money that they get is really like nothing compared to like other mega superstars in boxing, especially on the men's side, like AJ or Errol Spence, or I probably even say Terrence Crawford, to say the least. Like, those guys are making like 10 figures more compared to Katie Taylor. She's not making anything, because one, she's letting Eddie Hearn control her career, and two, she's not speaking up about anything that's going on for her career to be better. Because if she wanted her career to be better, like, why isn't she trying to make all these big fights happen, so that way women's boxing can skyrocket, and then there would be a lot more younger girls getting into the sport more. Because if I'm Katie Taylor, like, I should be fighting women like Clarissa Shields or Amanda Serrano, just just to show to the fans that that I'm chasing greatness. So that's pretty much what I'm saying, like, about these fighters like Ryan Garcia, that's not trying to make all the big fights happen in boxing. And this is what's killing our sport, where you got ducking pieces of shit that obviously want to talk all that crap to say, oh, well, maybe that could have been me fighting against Gervonta Tank Davis. Well, newsflash, Ryan, you had the opportunity to fight Tank, and guess what? You blew it. Same thing with Katie. She had the opportunity to fight Amanda, but Eddie Hearn lowballed her pay, where she was supposed to get $200,000 from the fight, but then he tried to cut her, cut her off and try to say, "Oh no, you can't get that anymore. So I'm going to cut it down to 80,000 instead of 200,000." And it's like, what? No, that doesn't make any fucking sense. She agreed to get $200,000, so give that woman $200,000. Oh no, bruv. Rat Eyes, Eddie Hearn, magic, awaits. I cannot give Amanda Serrano what she, deserves. Seriously, it's absolutely disgusting how the sport of boxing is, because if the NBA did this for women to say, oh, well, you guys are guaranteed to make a set amount of money that we give to you, but we're going to take more cut out of your pay and basically lowball you throughout the rest of the season. So even if you win the NBA Finals or the WNBA Finals, you're not getting that much money. We're basically going to crap on you. How would that work out? Do you really think the WNBA would be sitting around for that long? No. A lot of ladies would leave and they say, to hell with this, we should just have a different league that represents us. Because those ladies are definitely not wanting to stay there if they're not going to get paid for who they are. So, even though that the WNBA doesn't give out the best facing the best competition, at least it's still decent enough to the point where the NBA still co-financializes them to the sense of cooperating with those women to give them decent amount of money. But it's we're obviously not going to see no female, LeBron James type of player, but still, if the women are still, balling out to become the best female basketball players that they can be, at least at the start, to help it grow a lot bigger. And same thing for women's boxing. So, for Ryan Garcia, though, those type of fighters need to go away in the sport, because the sport itself is not growing with that lack of drive out of fighters that are being hyped up to be basically failures in the end. Because Ryan Garcia, he's definitely going to get knocked out in the future by somebody that's going to be a lot more hungrier than him, aka Mr. Nestor Bravo. Shout out to the king, to the Puerto Rican brother. But, yeah, I just don't see Ryan Garcia's career getting any better. What he said in that video, if you guys want to check it out, link will be in the description. It was very contradicting and it was very despicable, because if you really wanted Tank, you could have easily taken him out a long time ago if you thought he was that easy. But Ryan Garcia, being pressured enough by social media to actually give him some fake confidence, it didn't really help him out, because he just automatically ducked Tank anyway to say, oh, well, I'm not going to fight you, I'm going to fight Pacquiao instead. And then Pacquiao said, well, no, fuck that, if we're going to fight, we're going to fight in, in a real fight where our records are going to be on the line. But it's why the fuck would Pacquiao want to fight you? He's obviously going to fight you at a catch weight, and then it's not going to help out Ryan Garcia. Pacquiao is just going to dog walk the shit out of Ryan. And then if Ryan gets knocked the fuck out by Pacquiao, which he will, that would be a very stupid fight to get into. So I think what Ryan was doing was that he was just trying to find a way out of getting away from Gervonta Tank Davis, so he can make an excuse to say that he can't fight Tank due to blah blah blah, this and that. And it's nah, dude, you just didn't want to fight him because you knew that the smoke was too real, and Gervonta Tank Davis was ready to stomp you when that opportunity was given, and you just never wanted to take it. But let that be Devin Haney, and Devin Haney pulled off the same shit of what you were doing, everybody would ridicule him, and then Ryan Garcia would say, oh, look at this, Devin Haney ducking Tank. See, I knew that black fighters like him would be a pussy to not fight the best. So y'all can't say I'm ducking and not have the same energy for everyone else in my division, blah blah blah. But it's like those guys are not cut like that. They're like they're cut to be warriors. They're cut to be legendary fighters. They want to go down in the history books and make themselves, a new leaf, a new generation of legendary fighters. But it's like guys like Ryan Garcia don't want to do that, and it's very sad and it's very depressing. Also, it's very funny to see because it's like, Ryan Garcia, he does have other talents, but the old saying goes is that if you are a jack of all trades, you can be anywhere you want in life, but if you're a master of none, you'll be nowhere in life. And that's what Ryan Garcia is. He's a master at none, and he doesn't apply himself to be versatile in what his skills have brought himself to the highest level. And I think he's obviously just taking pages out of Eddie Reynoso and Canelo Alvarez's book to be, a ducking, cheating scumbag. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Ryan Garcia is going to be exposed for being dirty in some drug test somewhere down the line. And I won't be surprised if he pulls off another Oscar Valdez. Who knows, man? But I hope that doesn't happen. I wish Ryan nothing but the best. As much as I don't give two shits about Ryan of what his stupid antics are, but I say as a man, I respect Ryan for getting up in there to fight as a fighter in the ring in boxing. But it's like, as a human being, as a person, I just don't respect his character in the sport of boxing. I'm pretty sure he's a chill guy outside of boxing, but it's like, Ryan, you're in you're in a gladiator sport where you could possibly kill somebody or you could die in the ring. So it's like the decision making that you've been doing for the past, couple years have been very suspect and very, how should I say, disingenuous. So the only way that you ever come back in your career is that you have to be more mature and be more mindful of what you say or what you do. Because the most dangerous tools in the world is having a camera and a microphone. So I truly believe if you are a professional athlete, you have to contain yourself to a certain degree to make sure that you never get yourself into those positions. But that's pretty much what I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I had fun making this video. But let me know what you guys think. Ryan Garcia, get your shit together. And yeah, that's pretty much what I gotta say, man. Alright, I'll see y'all later. Bye.